Do you have you played with Bamboo Labs?
Yeah, we have 4 of them in the studio.
Okay. I had made a mistake today. I tried to switch to ludicrous speed, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
did it I did it mid print, and the thing was just kind of like completely ravaged.
Yeah, we've it seems like ludicrous speed only works on the Benchy, and we haven't really seen it work on much else. But
Oh, really?
yeah,
Interesting. I was just talking to I met my buddy Dave for coffee, and he was saying he's had it when he's done it, it's been just as good as regular speed. So that's
really.
interesting. I wonder, and he was saying the design he was doing it with was more organic. So I don't know
Mm,
if maybe like that helps. Like the print I'm doing right now, it's very like rigid. It's like a super basic just extrusion shape.
yeah,
So maybe like it struggles with that versus if it's like tracing a smooth path or something, it's
we had
better.
printed we had printed 2 Benchies, one on like the normal speed and one on ludicrous, to just time them against each other, and
Mhm.
the fidelity on the ludicrous speed, like on the smoke stack, it kind of like
Yeah.
looks like it's like partly melted. You can
Yes.
tell like it's going so fast that it's not solidifying before it lays the
Yes.
next layer.
I know a little bit about what you've been doing with AI, but not super in depth. And I would imagine a
Yeah.
lot has like changed since we last talked. So I thought it'd be cool to do like to talk to you because I haven't done like a big AI episode since I spoke with Hector
Yeah.
Rodriguez. And
Yep.
when we spoke, that was maybe about a year and a half or yeah, actually a year ago. It would have been
Yeah. A
like
year ago.
Q4 of last year. So stuff like a lot has changed.
Yes, it
At least on
has.
my side for sure.
Yeah.
So I thought it'd be cool to like really go into that. But I also don't like know a ton about your like your path and trajectory. I kind of know like where you are now, but
Yeah.
I'm also like very curious about like what's the Zac Lownds journey of how you got there.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Let me start there.
Yeah, yeah.
So I actually started in college actually in film, and got a associates in like film production from a community college. And I think when I got done with that, I was kind of like, what in the world am I going to do with this? I either have to move to the West Coast and continue doing this, or I need to start like a videography studio. And I didn't want to give up every weekend and every holiday. So actually, my wife she was going to school getting her master's in counseling, and she had come across a like an aptitude test for
Oh,
like, you should take this test. And so I took the test, and I found out about industrial design through that actually. And ended up going back to college and getting an industrial design degree. And it was like everything I ever wanted, to be able to just like design products and create new things and problem solve. And like, it was the perfect blend of art and kind of engineering and mechanical and fluid all at the same time. So yeah, I went to Kendall College of Art and Design, graduated from there in 2008, and then went to Whirlpool and worked in the KitchenAid small appliances studio for 5 years, and then several of their other studios. I was there for 10 years in total. And then came to Newell Brands as a senior industrial designer. Started in the home appliances section, and within a year was promoted into management, and have managed some teams through that group in home appliances still for probably, I think it was like 5 years. And
okay.
then basically what happened was the business that I was working on was actually, I was supporting the EMEA and ANZ group. and I was working with a team of designers in Cheadle, UK. And kind of overnight, the business had made some changes to how they wanted to run things. And we saw a deprioritization on that region, and kind of all of our projects like gone overnight. So this was in the middle of 2023. And so basically 2 years ago. And I was like, hey, I'm ready to do something new. I'm ready to explore. Like, I had some ideas of maybe some things I wanted to try, but actually our leadership team came to me and was like, hey, we've noticed that AI is becoming like a big thing. We keep seeing all this stuff around like Midjourney, and it's becoming much more of a tool that we see that could potentially impact how industrial designers work. We want someone to focus on just paying attention to AI full time and figuring out what it might mean for industrial design. So I was like, that sounds awesome. I'd love to do that. Partly I wanted to get in front of it, and then partly I also wanted to be the one controlling the narrative, not someone telling me how I was going to use it. So from in 2023, basically I took the role, and I think at the beginning of August, and worked at it by myself until really middle of January. And there was basically that was made clear to me that this is an experiment only. We don't know what's going to happen with it. But I dove into the programs of that time. I actually took classes from Hector. Like, I was probably in one of his first maybe 3 or 4 classes he ever taught.
Oh, wow.
On Midjourney. Started talking to the guys from VisCom right away and establishing a relationship there early on. Another software called Kadem. We were like one of the first industrial design groups to start working with them. And I just started stitching together different workflows of like how an industrial designer could use these tools to work together. And the leadership team really, really liked what they saw. And so in January of 24, I got another person added to my team that was focused on industrial design. And then in March, they wanted me to start looking at graphic design, because at Newell, we have both graphic design and industrial design all in the design house. So they put a graphic designer on my team. And we ended up in the middle of 2024 we put together a hype video of kind of all the stuff we were doing, showed it to our CMO at the time. She was super excited, brought it to the CEO, Chris Peterson of Newell. He was really excited, brought it to the board of directors, showed it to them, and they were really excited and ended up awarding us like a decent chunk of money, along with the ability to hire some heads. So in the last half of 24, we hired basically someone focused on visualization, digital twin space, a person that was focused on chatbot development, and then a person that was focused on an internal innovation process that we call Inogen, solely working on that space. And then that just carried steam into 2025. And then this year we're really focused on, my team had learned a whole bunch, but we weren't doing a good job at that point of rolling everything we had learned back to the staff. So this year has been really focused on we built a thing called Magenta University. My team is Magenta. Inogen is the innovation.
Yeah. You're very we're both very branded. Yeah.
But yeah, so this year we built, we call it Magenta University. It's once a month, at the last Thursday of the month, for a half a day, we host about 4 to 6 classes. Some of them are taught by my team. Sometimes we have vendors come in and teach their own tools, like Adobe, Miro, VisCom's come in a couple times, Kadem. And we get I think we've taught over 25 classes. We've had roughly 180 different people log into the classes, and we average about 60 people per class. So it's been pretty awesome, pretty successful. And yeah. right now we're just continuing to try to always look at what's next and figure out what we can do better. And um, obviously new features are out every day. So
Yeah, that's interesting. And yeah, it's funny. The big thing I think on my side right now has been all the video generation. That's
yeah.
kind of, I think that's the next chunk that I'm gonna
Yep.
try to really like dig my teeth into.
Yep.
It's been tricky. The video generation, I think like so we had done something similar where I basically uh similar process, like buckled down, created use cases like, okay, here's how industrial design can like interface with these programs, here's where it
Mhm.
like slots in the process. But at the time when we had done that, the video generation tools weren't really like quite there. Like there was a
Yeah.
little bit, but it was pretty like wild and
Yep.
rough, not really like at the fidelity we needed. But now it seems like there's been like way more progression, and that stuff is pretty tight, especially like in Midjourney. The ability to just like make a concept and then animate it is, it almost brings up these questions of like, do we ever present concepts as still images again? Because
Yeah.
like
Yeah, for
the
sure.
animation takes no time, it creates a way better story, a way better use case. And then
Yep.
if you just are able to like touch a little bit of Premiere and stitch a few clips together, you can tell like this whole end-to-end use case with basically
Yep.
like no work.
Yeah.
Maybe like a half day of spent time between
Yep.
like, you know, generating everything and stitching it together and like thinking about the story, but it's really like not that much time investment.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure. We were messing around with Runway for a little while, and we just couldn't really get the results that we really wanted from it. And this was 6 months ago, say. Then when Viscom came out with their video generator for an industrial designer working on product, like Viscom's video generator was the first I had seen that it understood like actual physical properties of a product.
yeah,
Hands didn't go through the side of a product trying to interact with it. It knew like this is a lid of a cooler and it hinges like this. Like that was
right.
the first where I was like, wow, this is fantastic. And I can actually use it to showcase like how this product works. Then we recently met with Runway again, and they have a new model generator out, Model 4, and they've kind of revamped their whole the way that they interact. So it's more of like a chat with its
Yes.
AI, and it's really really good. I don't know if I
Runway
can
is
still.
they're owned by OpenAI, right?
I don't think so, but I
Or
could be wrong.
I feel like all of these models are like a part of something else, and it's hard
Yeah,
to to keep up.
they might be, but I believe at least they started independently, but they might be
Okay.
might have been purchased by now. But yeah, their generation has been really good. VO3 has been really interesting, just because of the addition of audio. Firefly video has come out. That's relatively decent. Or what's the other one? Sora.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
yeah, we've been doing a lot of messing around, especially with like VO3. One of the interesting things is that you can actually draw on things and direct motion, and that's been pretty cool too. So
Yeah, that's super interesting. Yeah, it's been like a new it's funny. I find that as I've been like diving back in for the video generation stuff, I've been having to like rebuild the use cases. And it's funny, like I feel like I'm almost having to like re-explain all of these workflows to all of our stakeholders, because it was
yeah,
like such a hurdle to get the image generation done and like get people to wrap their minds around it. And
yeah,
it's funny, it seems so simple, like, yeah, you just take an image and move it, but like explaining that to like our partners has been like really difficult for some reason. Especially when we're working with like legal, like they're just like, is this 3D? Like, are these your like just actually
yeah,
explaining like it's this, and I like take this and then generate this, and then this is how I'm using it. Like getting that flow down is like one thing, but then like actually communicating it to like
yep,
our partners is like a whole other challenge that's been like pretty tough.
yeah. Our,
Um,
our legal team is like they seem to be okay as long as it's our image that we're using as a starting
yeah,
frame. It's where they don't like is when we're just prompting from scratch. But um, I'll leave it at
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. And I think this is gonna be like a strange conversation because we're both gonna have to like tiptoe and like awkwardly like step
Yeah.
around so many
Yeah.
like internal like conversations and regulations and whatnot. But
Yeah.
that's interesting. So okay, a bunch of questions in my mind. So one is what would be your advice? I was asked this recently, and I think it would be a cool question to hear your opinion on. What would be your advice for a designer who's like embedded in an organization as far as like getting started with AI tools and
Mm.
getting momentum internally?
Yeah. So I think my biggest thing is just do, stay
Mm.
curious. A lot of what I see is when, you know, I think there's a lot of people that are afraid to just jump in. Like they're maybe embarrassed that it's not going to go well. You know, kind of like when you're in industrial design, at least, you know, in the beginning, you're kind of timid to sketch in front of other people.
Yeah.
I see people doing that today, and they're like, "Well, I don't really know how to prompt," and I'm like, "You're the way that you learn. I mean, I can teach you some things, but just get in there and start typing and start playing and see what works for you. There are some things that you can learn, but really." A lot of these tools are quite simple to use to the point where you just need to get in and start doing. Um, the last thing you need to do is, you know, be hesitant about them. They're only going to help you. And for me, like I'm with using all the tools that we use every day, I'm really big on, I think people have a fear like they're going to lose themselves.
Mm.
Um, and I'm really big on staying in control. And so only do what you're comfortable with. If you're going to generate something, then generate it. And if you want to keep building on it, then keep building on it. If you want to take it back out of the program and bring it into Photoshop or print it and sketch over it or
Right.
just sketch freehand, that's fine. You don't have to do the entire process in generation. I think the other thing that I would say is I see this all the time. Well, I put a prompt in and I didn't get what I wanted. Okay, well, how many times did you try? Well, it was just one. I just put the prompt in and I didn't get it. And I'm like, okay, well, keep doing it. For one, it's can be relatively random generations depending on what tools you're using and how you're prompting. But work on your prompt and adjust your prompt to try different things. But then also, if you have the ability, hit generate 5, 6, 7, 8 times and see what you get, versus just feeling like you failed on the first one.
Yeah, for sure. It's funny. We Derek Cassio, Aaron, his partner Aaron Double, and myself, we just hosted a workshop with our local IDSA chapter here in Boston that was all around like AI. Or not, it wasn't all around AI, but we called it like new process, and we just kind
Yeah.
of like broke down the industrial design process, and the pitch was like, hey, let's design a product from scratch in, I think it was like 2 hours, and we'll do it live, like by the seat of our pants, like nothing planned. And exactly what you're describing happened while I was like on stage in front of, I don't know, I think we had like 50 people there or something. And I was like glad it happened because I feel like every time I sit down to generate something, it's different. Like I'm never like copying and pasting or like plugging the same formula in exactly. And especially with, as things are updating the way you said now with, like OpenAI, I know is doing a lot of work with their image generator around like making it more conversational.
Yeah.
And so even that now is like starting to change like the way that I'm finding I'm interfacing with these things.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's like no two are the same. And so yeah, like when that failed live, it was great because we were able to like work around it and problem solve it in real time. And I think we got feedback that was like pretty helpful
Yeah.
for people to like see that mental process of like, okay, this isn't working. How do we get it to a place where it does work?
Mm-hmm.
I think there's the other element that I think is important. And I'm curious, like, if you have this opinion as well, is like sometimes I'll try something in AI and after like 15, 20 minutes, maybe like 10, 15, 20 minutes, if it's not working, I just will abandon it and do it the traditional way. And I feel like there's nothing wrong with that, of at least like, hey, let me like test this and see if it works. And then if it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't, I always have this like base skill set I can kind of fall
Yeah.
back on, you know?
And For sure. And, most likely what will happen is in that 10, 15, 20 minutes of playing, you're probably going to get some other ideas along the way too.
Yeah.
And that's a great thing. In fact, like we were talking about these different tools, and something that I think has recently come to me in the last couple of weeks is that something like ChatGPT and the way that Image 4.0 works is interesting. Like it's very, very accurate in I can often describe to it something and get almost exactly what I want from it, which is great if that's what I'm trying to do. But I think there's a lot of people that are saying like, oh, well, ChatGPT is so much better than like something like Midjourney. To me, they're different tools for different things. Like I still use Midjourney a ton, and that is because of its speed and its ability to explore. I can run 100 images in a matter of 30 seconds, and I can curate and like explore all at one time using chaos and weirdness and these different things to influence the images to go all over the place, where I can't do that in ChatGPT. So one is like super focused, and the other one helps me explore a lot. So I might use Midjourney to explore a lot, and then I might bring it over into some other program to start to refine or add, some other elements to it.
Yeah, that's really good. That's super insightful because yeah, I've heard the exact same thing. Like, well, this one's better than this one, and I feel like they're all kind of a little bit different. It's almost like
Mhm.
if AI is a Dremel, it's like all the attachment, and then these, they're all like the different attachments. And you kind of are
Yeah,
like picking the right one for the job. But yeah, and I mean, like, how often in the design process are you sitting down and knowing exactly what you want?
right.
It's probably pretty slim. I mean, yeah, sometimes you have those briefs where it's like a like a C class, ABC, like kind of lower level of design input. Maybe those are better for like the more descriptive AI versus the ones that are a bit more like Horizon 3, like further out,
Right.
is more exploratory. Um, yeah, that's super interesting.
Yeah.
Um, I'm also glad that you talked about the advice of like being very exploratory. It's funny. So I was similar to you where I was on this the kind of the AI exploration very early. And it's funny, I'm seeing just now, maybe within the last like 3 to 4 months, I'm starting to have stakeholders come to me and ask about it.
Yeah.
So it's finally at that point, I think, what are we, 2 3 years later, where I have engineers coming to me saying like, hey, I want to be able to use this to generate A, B, and C. And
Yep.
it's like I'm so glad that design, like, we've made ourselves the owners of this tool, because otherwise it would kind of be flipped. And I feel like
Yeah.
that piece of advice you gave is really good in that sense. Have you had any like similar experiences with that, of like different disciplines kind of coming to kind of this like central AI team to figure out like what are these tools and how do we use them?
Yeah, it's been really awesome because the CMO that we were reporting up, where design was reporting up into, she was she saw the benefit of AI and was part of the reason that my team had so much success, because any sort of questions she had or problems she had wanted to solve, she would, feed it back to us and we would explore and try to solve it. But what was nice is she would, she grew a ton of trust in us, and she would start to contact, groups that we never work with in design. So like, hey, I have someone from the Walmart sales team that works for Newell.
Uh,
Like, we want you to work with them to like develop this idea, building a chatbot to do this type of thing. But I want you to be able to tell the story visually. So here we're suddenly like using chatbots and video and persona and all this stuff to like create these stories. So we're working with sales, we're working with marketing. Recently, we just had this last week, we had 2 packaging engineers sit with us during an innovation session so they could learn our process to bring it back to packaging engineering. And so that's been really cool. And I will say part of ours is because Newell is making a big push to make everyone AI literate. But it is nice that we already have so much clout because of the stuff we've done, that they're basically saying, go talk to that team. They'll probably be able to tell you like how to do this. So yeah, we've had a lot of it.
That's interesting. The other thing I'm curious about that I've been thinking about a lot recently is I feel like the AI tools apply quite a bit to industrial design and like product development, but I almost feel like the use cases seem more prevalent with marketing and building marketing material. But on the other hand, there's a lot of maybe like social backlash or cultural backlash. Like a lot of companies are getting, I think, like ripped apart for using AI recently. I'm just curious, like, what your perspective on that is. Like, do you feel like there's a like right and wrong way to like implement AI when the content you're creating is like public facing?
Yeah, that's a great question and a tough one.
I don't know the answer myself, either.
So yes, and my opinion is kind of goes back to like staying in control. I think AI, I love what you're able to do with it. I mean, I work with it every day. That said, like I still am like, I don't let AI do everything for me. I'm still very much a type of person that like I'm going to use AI to like blow out this exploration, but then I'm going to make sure that I'm curating and I'm pulling it into this thing, and then I'm making the refinements I want, and I'm thinking about it critically to make sure that it fits a brief or it fits a consumer need. So I think businesses need to make sure that they're still thinking critically about the output and that it's actually meeting the needs of the consumer. I think we're also in this just odd phase. Like I know Coca-Cola got a lot of backlash on their AI video that they put together, which I've heard some interesting like background stories on that from the company that did it, saying they could have done it a lot better, but the process ended up moving really slowly. So by the time it launched, like the stuff they had done was already out of date because the video generation models had gotten so much better from the time they started to when it launched. But I think the brands I think we're in this period where people are reacting to something new and it's scary. And AI, obviously, as everyone knows, has the ability to do a lot of things that humans can do. And it is scary. So I think brands are probably going to take backlash for a little while now until it becomes kind of more normal. And I think it's already becoming like a norm in the creative workflow. And even I think it will become very normal in the marketing workflow as well, which is a little bit scary, but
yeah, for better and worse.
Yeah.
I think transparency is probably like a good piece of it too. Like I'm just listening to kind of like what you're telling me, and I feel like there's probably an interpretation from like your average, Joey and Janie, that when these things are getting generated by AI, it's not like an artist doing it. But I would argue that like 9 times out of 10, I'd be willing to bet that a graphic designer or a creative of some kind is like pulling that lever either way. Like I don't think like the business manager is sitting down and like generating the Coca-Cola ad campaign. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like those creatives are still in the loop, which probably goes back to like the ownership and control that you were mentioning.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's like, how do you, because there's two approaches. It's like you either put the content out and hope that people just interpret it as an ad and they don't see the AI, or you find a way to be like clever and transparent and like really communicate the story of like how it was made inside of the campaign. But that's also a harder task that requires more time, investment, and work.
So I think that transparency piece is actually, I like that a lot. And it seems like if you're not trying to fake people out and say like, no, this is our ad and we didn't use it, or you're not mentioning it, like then it feels like you're trying to pull the wool over people's eyes. But if you are coming at it from hey, like here's our new like ad campaign, we used AI, like what do you think about it? Or or if you take it lightheartedly, maybe in the beginning, and you put in some Easter eggs or something like that, then maybe it would be seen or taken a little more lightheartedly. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure about the answer.
Yeah. I'm curious. I'm curious to ask you about another piece. So I was at a barbecue recently, and there was I met this guy, and he was a software developer locally. I was just asking him like, oh, I bet like a lot of this AI is really impacting your job, and the way he was describing it back to me, it sounded like it's almost affecting them way more deeply than us. Like, I read a lot about like these tech layoffs and downsizing, and he was kind of telling me that you can almost code like entire apps within these chat bots, which I didn't know. And I was just curious if like you've played around with that at all. Like there's this term I keep hearing called vibe coding, which is where you're just kind of like
Yes.
prompting these bots to like build apps and different pieces of software. It's not something I've tried, but I'm like questioning now if it's something I should be like looking into. Like as an industrial designer, do I have the ability to build software or no?
Yeah. It's really funny because like the word vibe coding or the phrase vibe coding came out, and then I swear 2 weeks later I saw a headline probably on LinkedIn that was like, vibe coding is dead, don't use vibe coding.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like
The
what is
immediate
it?
backlash, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I is interesting. So when we met with the runway people recently, there was a guy giving a demo, and he had shown this. One of their tools is called Aleph, and it basically is like a video retexturing tool. So you can load in a video, and you can tell it like, remove blemishes or make this scene at night or whatever. And it does a really good job. But what was interesting is he made this video of a balloon that was like bouncing through a room and then popped. And he showed us the before video. And what the video was like a room, like a rough room. And then it had literally just like a red dot. And the red dot was like moving. And then I think the red dot even exploded at the end. But it wasn't rendered as a balloon. And I was asking him, like, how did you go about doing that? Did you, create this in After Effects and then load it in? And he was like, no, I actually vibe coded it. And I was like, damn it. Like,
Wow.
So in answer of your question, I have started messing around with it. I am not a coder, but I've been I guess there's a part of me as an industrial designer that works on physical product. I am wishing that product design or app design was a thing when I first started college, because it wasn't. Because it feels like there's so much to develop in that space, and there's a lot of jobs that are opening up in that space. And I think AI is helping a ton in that space. I did just do my first automation, like AI automation it was actually through Microsoft Power Automate, because that's what I had available to me. But it was interesting because I built the automation flow through Microsoft Copilot, but then I wanted to do certain things and I had to troubleshoot it. So I was using ChatGPT to troubleshoot the code on the one, and then essentially like telling it what the problems were and then copying and pasting back and forth. Wow. And in the end, I got it all to work, and it works exactly the way I wanted it to. So, and I have no coding experience. It's all kind of just teaching myself how to do it. So I think I'd love to continue in that space and try to get better at that and figure out more about how I can do those things. But I will say I'm at the very beginning of it. There's 2 guys on our team that are much more in that space than I am, and they have the ability to code and JavaScript and everything else. So they know what they're doing. I don't.
Yeah, it's super. Yeah. As we probably shouldn't. Like,
Yeah.
It's also kind of like know our pocket.
Yeah.
But I just, it was one of those things where just when he told me that, I was just really questioning like, oh, maybe this is like a new way we can contribute or a way to just like amp up concepts, or like,
Yeah.
I'm sure you're in the similar boat where it's like everything is smart, everything is IoT. That's like, as devices and the things we design are getting like more intelligent, I feel like that software piece is only going to be like a bigger and bigger part. Like I have a project I'm working on now that I can't talk about too much, but it has a very big software component to it. Um, and it has been frustrating because I can get things conceptually to a point,
Yeah.
but at a certain point, like I can't get far enough to like make the concept presentable without having like a significant contribution from like a UX designer or a developer.
Yeah.
And it's very frustrating because then it's like, okay, now I'm waiting. I need their schedule to free up. It's a stretch assignment, so they don't necessarily have time. So the project kind of has like stalled out a lot. But if I can I'm kind of thinking to myself, like if I can pick up this vibe coding piece, that might be a way to.
Have you played with Figma at all?
A little bit, yeah. We have Figma and FigJam, but I'm not super well versed in it. I can do enough to like hack a fake website together, but that's about it.
The Figma Make feature, I don't know if you have access to that. That's pretty interesting because it's essentially like Illustrator, but it's building everything in the background. And I know that's just the front end, but you might be able, I know you have access to the back end of that as well through Figma. So you might be able to like vibe code the back end and do the front end with Figma.
That's cool. I just brought this up. This was like a project that really stood out to me this week, but IDEO I think this was like yesterday or the day before. IDEO just released this big project called Hallucinations. Have you seen this?
No, I haven't.
Okay, it's really cool. It's just it is tanking my PC. Maybe they built this website with vibe coding because it's running terribly. But let's see if there's a way. Yeah, see all hallucinations. It's just a bunch of different like software experiments. But there's this one that stood out to me in particular. This one, I'll mute this, called Generative Clay. But basically, this woman like vibe coded more or less this piece of software for like building pottery concepts. So it's like this really simple interface where she just has this kind of like profile editor on the right, and then as she's able to as she's changing that, it's like morphing this form, and then she can export like STLs or this or that. Now, like you and I'm not sure how you would do this, but I'd probably go into Rhino and do like record history and revolve. And like, it's like, it is possible. Like there is a way to do this in CAD, but it's a little bit cumbersome.
Yeah.
But I don't know. This just really had me thinking, like, if you have a category or like a business, or if you're going down a direction where you know you're going to do a lot of design work in like a specific way, like how much of this is worth it and how much of it isn't.
That's really cool.
It's pretty neat. But
I know what I'm going to be doing all night tonight now.
Nice Friday night for two middle-aged designers looking at
exactly.
like Ivy League design concepts.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, man. Yeah, super interesting. Another thing I think about a lot is like where this is all going. I don't know what the future of industrial design looks like. I think about it a lot, and I have my opinion, but I'm curious, like what you think in general.
I feel like I need to be really careful answering this question.
Well, it's also like, I mean, we should just say like it's all speculation. Like nobody holds a crystal ball. We don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. To your point. I do just really quick. I do want to say, like, I think we are going through a big change.
Yes.
Like, I think in 5 to 10 years, our field is going to change significantly. I don't know how or what, or like exactly where everything's going to shake out. I think to say that nothing will change is probably wrong. But I do think something is going to switch.
Yeah. I've done a little bit of research in this space to try to project like 5, 10, 15, 20 years. According to that research, it was not the most beautiful thing, but I guess the thing that these are the things that I see, and this is all speculation. I don't know for anyone that watches this. I think industrial design is already getting smaller as a group. It seems like physical product design is becoming a smaller group of people. I think that will continue to happen. And at least right now, it feels like there's a rise in agency work. So at least for like corporations, it feels like they're probably bringing money in, like trying to hold on to money by reducing staff. And then they're going to use that money to hire agencies on, quick hits that they need. That said, I think it feels like in the creative agency world, like now with the rise of AI, creative agencies have so much more at their fingertips. Like they can pull together business plans like for anything really easily. They can create some visualizations to go along with that look realistic, and maybe they're not fully thought through, but they help tell a story. You can now build a video like you were saying and string together a bunch of 10-second clips to make a really emotive 1-minute video very easily now. And I think all of those things are really going to help those agencies be able to do more and touch more than they ever have before. So to me, it feels like industrial designers, I think we're going to be more like creative people that have the ability to do a lot of things. Like you're talking about vibe coding. There's nothing that I could do before. It might be something I can do in a year, or maybe less. Some of the other things that like quick video storytelling, like I was not going to go get my video camera and like create a quick video, but now I can do that very quickly. So what we're able to do, I think will spread out a ton, and even potentially be able to do some of the marketing tasks, things like that. Just as like marketing might be able to do some of the tasks we used to do as well. Like some of the things that we always hated doing was like marketing's putting together a deck for this sales thing. We need images of this, and this. And it's like, okay, well, I'm in the middle of designing your 2 other projects, and now you want me to stop and do these images for this thing. Well, now they have the potential to actually do those things without having to come and bother us. So it seems like democratizing of work will be a thing. Beyond that, I don't know what happens to all of the workforce in the next 10 years, 15 years. I don't know. There's some reports that I see where it's like AI adoption is going very poorly, but there's other places that it seems to be going really well. There's some people saying like, oh, I think we've already hit the bubble. Some people are saying, no, you're crazy. I tend to think that we have not hit the bubble at all, and that this is going to continue to develop for several more years. And beyond.
I feel like there's a big. I'm gonna like fumble this terribly, so help me out here. But I feel like there's a big misdefinition of AI. And I feel like it's really similar to design, right? Like you tell someone, hey, I'm a designer, or you talk about design. It's like this word that everybody has a different interpretation of. And like we kind of have our own in terms of the way we position and sell ourselves. And I feel like AI is the same thing. It's like, yes, I think we've probably hit the bubble in terms of like how many AI companies can people start and get like wild rounds of funding and like that kind of like the business side of it. But as far as like the amplification and like the tool and the way it's like integrating into work flow, I think that's where the runway is really like strong and far. It's funny. One of the things I'm really thinking about a lot is like, because I completely agree with you. I'm seeing the exact same thing, like large internal staff dipping or like going down, and kind of like companies reducing overall headcount. So I think I'm making a similar prediction of like consulting and freelancing and contracting is probably going to go back on the rise again. I think we're going to see like another resurgence of that. The question I have is like, what is the consultancy of the future? That's where it gets like more cloudy for me, because I think consultancy is definitely going to go up.
Yeah.
But I also see like a reduction in overall value of like big innovation sessions or like large scale like design thinking driven projects. And so that's something I don't know is like what is this like contracting, like what is that offering that we need to be making
Yeah.
as that transition is happening. And that's something I don't necessarily have an answer for, but I do think there's the person I think who figures that out and defines that first wins.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah. And I don't know what I think there's a lot of different things that can be offered, but I also think it depends on like what kind of a timeline we're talking about. Obviously, like someone like you and someone like me that we've been working with AI in a corporation. We understand how corporations work and how AI works in a corporation. Could potentially go and do consulting on, how to bring AI in, how to integrate AI, how to teach people AI.
Hmm.
But that only lasts for a certain while. So
Yeah, that's like a short-term business
that's
plan.
a
Yeah, yeah.
short-term business plan. So beyond that, I don't know if you end up with like AI like innovation sessions, but they're done in a different way. Um, I imagine that would be a thing. I don't know. That's a really good question.
Yeah. Yeah,
To
there's
me, it's like they just offer a lot of those agencies offer more, and it will come down to quality of work and probably cost, obviously. But some of those agencies, I think, will become extremely creative because they've harnessed the power of AI, and they'll be able to make things that people weren't able to make before.
yeah, it's it's really interesting. So I started a business in January,
Mm-hmm.
where I have like a small retail location. I don't know, I've just kind of been like getting into the world of small business and learning just like I've never started a business before. It's just like a
Yeah,
super interesting
that's
like
awesome.
learning process. Like I'm really enjoying it. But one of the things I'm finding is like very difficult is differentiation in general because
Yeah.
there's just like you said, like just as everything's getting democratized, you have things like Pinterest and Les Manouche and all these online stores. Like the world is so connected and there's so many people who have businesses. And I feel like, it's funny. I was talking to somebody today. I was saying like, I remember when I was a kid, my grandparents, like people who were kind of in like the silent generation, like pre-boomer, they would always say like it felt like something new was coming out every day. There's this period in like the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s where it was just like rapid innovation, like everything was new and being refined. And I feel like that has kind of like plateaued. And I don't necessarily know like how you like getting to differentiation, I think is much harder and way more arduous than it was in the past. Um, and so, yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how to solve that now. One thing I've been doing, just maybe a little plug for myself, but I've been doing a product a week. So I sit down once a week and I give myself a time, like a time constraint of about like 10 hours. And I try to like come up with an idea, like sketch it out, model it, prototype it, and then sell it.
Mm-hmm.
And I put it in this store and I like see how it does. Like
Yeah.
how many do I sell? Does it resonate? I'll put like a little feedback form out and get feedback from customers. And it's been really interesting because like as I'm able to like use all these AI tools and like these faster workflows, it's actually like not too difficult. As long as I can like get the idea, like honestly, the hardest part is just getting the idea, and then the actual execution usually doesn't take me a particularly long time.
Yeah.
But I'm almost wondering if there's like a future where designers were almost pushing way more like pilot programs, or
It's
like we're
interesting.
pushing the prototyping side, and we almost like put like it's like if you have like your design process, and let's say it's like, I don't know, I'm just like rounding or I'm averaging, but let's say like half your time is developing the design, and then half the time is like actually like executing the design. I'm wondering if that like design piece is going to go down and it's going to be way more about like rapid prototype and execution and then like validating in the market. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So interesting you say that. I don't think I can name, I don't know
Yeah, be careful.
I'm going to not name businesses here because I don't know what
Yeah.
is public knowledge or not. But there is a company in the fast fashion world that we were meeting with a consulting firm that worked with this company and developed this crazy process for them that was very eye-opening. And it is kind of exactly what you're saying. They use generative imagery to create basically fashion ideas, and they put them up, and then based on the amount of click-throughs and or pre-purchases and or real purchases, they then go and make the product very quickly and sell it. So the product itself, when they first put it up, it doesn't actually even exist. But based off of the amount of response online, then they will quickly make it and offer it. So
Yeah.
kind of like what you're saying, like getting the idea out there and seeing how people react and then quickly being able to respond and make, that's where the challenge lies. But pretty crazy. There's more to it than that. There's like an automation piece of it and a trend scraping piece of it and all this stuff, but really, really cool.
Yeah, and it's funny, like you're telling me that, and I've also the same deal without disclosing too much. I've also talked to other companies that have done exactly what you're saying. They launch a product when there actually isn't a product.
Yeah.
And then they wait, and it's like, well, if we get an order, then great, we'll tool it up and whatever. And it's just they're just kind of waiting for that right whale client to come in.
Yep.
And yeah, I really am like, now that we're like talking about this out loud, I'm like getting increasingly sold on, because there's so much democratization, not just like in design process, but in like manufacturing too. Like, so like one of the things I did is just like, well, let me constrain every product is just going to be 3D printed. You can launch there's plenty of businesses out there. I mean, like I work in lighting, right? You have like Wooge or Gantry or these companies where like the whole value proposition of their business in the marketplace is making a 3D printed product. It's like once you go there, there's like no overhead. What's to stop you from just like kind of trending? I mean, I'm sure there's probably some business strategy in there that you'd want to be wise about, but I think that is going to be. I wonder if that's going to be kind of the way. Like it's like, is that the new value proposition for design? Like, hey, we're going to help you like really truly validate an idea without spending, tens of thousands of dollars on tooling.
It's actually kind of interesting. It's almost like there's the arts and crafts movement and the mass industrialization of product. It's like we're swinging back to the arts and crafts movement because we have this ability to just create. And if you're saying, or if something like you're saying becomes a reality, and maybe because of AI, 3D printing becomes even better than it is, and that technology becomes something where I can literally print something that is like a real piece of like beautiful furniture without a ton of like post-process, that could be really interesting. And now we're just creating all the time unique things and selling them under our own brands.
Yeah, because I feel like there's probably some like graph you could visualize for like a think piece or whatever, where it's like making money is easier than it's ever been. Like your ability to like create a business and like making product is easier than it's ever been, but differentiation I feel like is harder than it's ever been. And so there's this like weird, it's just like a new world and like a new territory of trying to like figure that out. And obviously it's like a multi-million-dollar answer if you can. So
yeah, I think that getting that human connection and then the being able to rapidly produce, that's
for sure
the key.
For sure. Well, hey man, it's 6:00 and it's a Friday, and I know you have a family and I have a family, so I don't want to like keep you too long. But it's really cool talking to you, and it's interesting. I wish there's like I could talk about this all day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's like an endless well of, because like nothing is set and there's no answer. It's like these questions have no answers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. we talked about a lot of topics, and I feel like we could have talked about 100 other ones that were
Yeah.
relevant as well.
Yeah. So maybe we can do this again sometime. That would
Yeah,
be really
sounds
cool.
good.
Or yeah, it'd be interesting too to like ask. Maybe we can like prompt LinkedIn and be like, hey, what do you guys want to know about AI? And it would be cool
Yeah,
to like do that as well. But if people want to like reach out to you, or if people have questions about like the work that you've been doing,
yeah.
what's maybe like the best way to get in touch?
I would say probably LinkedIn is probably the easiest way to get a hold of me. I check that pretty regularly. If you want to, I would probably just keep it at that.
Okay. Yeah.
LinkedIn,
Yeah.
that'll go to my regular email anyway, so it'll be fine.
Yeah. There you go. Sounds good, man. Cool. All right. Well, thanks for coming on, Zach.
Yeah, thanks a ton for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. This video is brought to you by our online store, Beyond the Village. You can head over to btvdesign.com to shop a wide variety of vintage finds as well as antiques. Sign up for our mailing list. You get 10% off and you'll be the first to know about new drops. You can also follow us on Instagram if you prefer to get updates that way at beyond_the_village. In our shop, we sell a wide variety of antiques, everything from glass catch-alls to some books as well. So check that out if you're interested. Before you buy, you can shop the rug zine, which goes through kind of the history of antique and vintage Oriental rugs, as well as some of the best styles. Strappies are a particular favorite of mine. The Murano glass zine, which goes over what to look for if you're shopping for art glass, or if you'd like to learn a little bit more about art glass before you buy something from our shop, you can flip through this as well. And then finally, the pattern and texture zine, which features some of my 3D work that I've done in the past, as well as some just history on patterns, where patterns come from, how designers pull them from nature to architecture, and then everything in between as well. Lastly, we also have on our shop some merch. So I just had these hats made. You can get, they're fully corduroy, really high quality with kind of our embroidered logo on the front. So that's another way you can support us as well. Again, every purchase means a lot to us and helps us support our family and get that diaper money for our kids. So head over to our website, sign up for our newsletter, follow us on Instagram, and now back to the video.